We will now begin a second round, although I do understand that we're supposed to have 2 votes at noon. I haven't seen them noticed up yet, but we'll just be aware of that. Mr. Bernhardt, we've had an opportunity to discuss the situation in Alaska right now. As you know, our state's economy has been very reliant over the past several decades on the oil that comes to us through the North Slope. The Trans-Alaska Pipeline is about 3/4 empty. It carries about 500,000 barrels a day, not due to lack of resource up there, but really more to almost a blanket lack of permission to access our federal lands. If you are confirmed as Deputy Secretary, and again, I'm certainly going to be helping to make that happen, but can you give your commitment to me that you will make it a priority to work with me, with the other members of the Alaska delegation, with our governor, to develop a plan to figure out how we refill our Trans-Alaska Pipeline?
Absolutely. I hadn't looked at the volume in taps for a while, and I was very surprised by the significance of the decline, and I will absolutely make it a priority to work with you on that specifically.
Well, we look forward to that. Let me ask about some of the reports that have come out of the Interior's Inspector General over the last few years regarding the Park Service and other DOI agencies. Including, these have included not only the agencies, but also the previous Park Service director himself on topics ranging from sexual misconduct to major ethical violations. What do you think needs to be done? What do we need to do to improve not only the Park Service, but the Department of the Interior as a whole to avoid this kind of conduct by employees in the future and ensure a more positive work environment by not only the employees, but to ensure that our visitors to our public lands have the most positive experience possible?
Well, Senator, on a personal level, as Katie sits behind me, I can't fathom her being subjected to a work environment where she's treated hostilely just because of her gender. And I will do everything I can on the personnel side to deal with that. But I think that we need to look at where the cultural priorities of the department are. The Secretary has said from the top, we're going to have a cultural accountability. And the reality is that when I went into the department as solicitor in 2006, what I did is I went and pulled a number of the reports and investigations that people have talked about today, and I went line by line through them, doing things like finding ethics experts who were experienced, expanding the ethics of the ethics program within the department significantly, locating ethics officials where there were many personnel, for example, in Denver. And I created a very robust plan that I implemented after hearing what the Inspector General had to say. And what was interesting to me when I went back recently to go through the pre-clearance process here is that those same folks are there. And I think that we really need to ask ourselves, is there more needed? Because obviously there are serious issues at Interior and agencies like the Park Service, and we need to beef up, and that may require us asking you for additional help, but we need to create a culture of accountability, and then we have to send a message very clearly that the culture we have is one of employee safety and ethical conduct.
Well, and I appreciate that, and I think we all recognize that the matter of ethics and integrity is one where there can be no compromise, no give, that it needs to be to the highest standard. And I appreciated the depth of the discussion that we had in my office about just this, and you outlining what you had done within the department during your tenure there to focus specifically on it. I also further noted with some interest that you happen to be married to an individual who devotes her daytime job to a focus on ethics as well. So I think that can't hurt you in your analysis as well.
That's true. I have an ethics expert nearby.
Thank you. Senator Cantwell.